So Angel City Records, okay, just to kind of recap. So you were in a band. They must have
They
did their
broke
homework.
up.
You guys broke up, but they must have did their homework previously and seen you guys
Yeah,
somehow.
they did. I've always saw so the owners of the label are Mark Morales and Wally Caro, and Wally I always used to see him playing in different bands. Like he's playing in C Spot. Um, I saw him play his older band Mobtown reunited because they were like from back in the day, and when they reunited I got to see them and I was like, holy crap, they're dope. Like, and he also had a band called Police and Thieves, so my old band played with both of those bands. So they saw me perform with the Boss Beats, and then I would always see Mark, at different all-nighters. I don't know if he ever saw me perform right away with the Boss Beats, but I think Wally knew about me, and I remember him getting my number, and he liked what I was doing, and I didn't hear from him, so I was like, oh well, it's all good. Like I didn't really think anything of it, but then he came through, man. He hit me up, and maybe a year or two later, and they presented me with the idea, and then I saw them at a special show, and the specials played in Pomona, and I was kind of tipsy and they came up to me right there and they were like, hey, we want to meet up with you, I'm like, okay, yeah. And they always make fun of me. They were like, dang, you were on a good one. I'm like, shut up, I was having a good time, leave me alone. But yeah, that's kind of how it happened with them. They contacted me at the perfect time, so they're very responsible for me getting into the position I'm in now, as far as being a solo artist. So I give them all the credit for that, for sure.
Now, so they approach you. They have how many songs in the wings waiting for you to write to?
I'm trying to remember. Basically, they had a bunch of tracks. They got these at the time. They called them the Hurricanes, and they had them record tracks. Pretty much, they're just so sick that they just took them in the room and they were laying down a bunch of stuff. I think they were kind of showing them this is the kind of style that we want to do, this and that, and they just knocked it out. And then I listened to the tracks and I kind of auditioned. They kind of wanted to see my ability to make up something of my own, which I know it's kind of hard sometimes to find people that do that. And they wanted to see, because they asked me, you write your own songs, right? I'm like, yeah, I write. So they kind of gave me that challenge of, here's this track, do whatever you want with it. And it was pretty crazy because I've never really auditioned for anybody before like that. I was just a girl from freaking SGV, man, trying to play in different bands. So this was another type of level, for me. And so I'm like, all right. So I remember writing, and then they had me sing and show them what I got, and it was pretty nerve-wracking because it was just them too, just watching me. I'm like, this is so freaking awkward, but I want this, and I want to make it happen, and I gotta just work what I know, work with what I got. So that's what I did, and yeah, the rest is history. We just I ended up writing songs to the tracks, and it's funny because my bass player now was he played bass on my recordings on my EP, and it's really cool because you don't realize the impression you make on people right away. You kind of just go in there and do your thing. You don't know what they're thinking or anything. You're just trying to do you, and it's cool to hear him say that he was really impressed with the way I just walked in, and I had a notebook and I was ready to go. And I remember just thinking, I'm gonna bring my notebook. I don't really know the words yet. Literally, they were like, all right, we want to record next month, and then the month after that, you're gonna have your first live show, and then you're gonna do these songs and the songs that you wrote. And I'm kind of thinking, shit, I gotta learn and memorize all these songs I just wrote, on top of other covers and stuff. So I just walked in there and I had my notebook, and I'm like, all right, this is what I wrote to these tracks. Let's do it. And they were all kind of whoa, it was cool. It was cool to make that impression, and they were happy and they liked my songs, and that made me feel so good. That's when I felt oh, I could do this. I got this, So that's kind of how it happened in the first recordings.
What is it like to? I mean, that's every person's. Anybody that's in the music biz, anybody that's a musician. Their whole dream is one day a record label giving them that love, giving them that all right, here's the stamp, like you're signed, you're with us. What does it feel like to be signed and have someone, you know, have the music and have the recordings and have a schedule now? Like, I mean, what's going through your heart? What's going through your mind? Like, this is happening. Like, this is.
Yeah, it was trippy because I was kind of having like a hard time at the time and going through a lot of things. So it was like such a perfect time to be able to like feel empowered in that way. You know, like when you're going through shit and then something kind of good comes up, and that's like, even though you might not feel the greatest like all the time, but it's like that empowering feeling where it's like, this is mine, like this is my thing, like I'm gonna kill it, you know, like this is my baby, like I'm gonna, you know, screw all the other bullshit, like this is my one thing that I have and I want to go for it. So it definitely felt exciting, like, you know, to go and like pick out like, oh, what am I gonna wear for the show? I've always been like about that, and just, oh, I'm gonna record and then I'm gonna have like a show and it's gonna be in LA, and it was like a big deal, you know. It was definitely like a happy time for me. Even though like a lot of things were going on, it was definitely like, it just 360'd my life. Like,
what was going on? That was so crazy.
I was busy and I was like, this is what matters right now. It was like a test, you know, like, are you gonna let this shit bring you down, or are you gonna, you know, embrace what you have and like let all that go and like say, no, like I don't need that, like this is my time to like kind of, you know, shine and do my thing. So that's kind of how it felt. It was like, it was very testy, you know, as far as putting all the emotions, things you're going through, and just like being happy and embracing like this good thing. So that was cool to be able to do that, you know. It came like at a really good time for sure.
Well, what was the shit that was going on in your life, if you want to talk about it?
I mean, just relationship crap, you know, like typical like breakup and life stuff, you know. That's really good fuel though to write songs. So that's why I'm saying, like, you can like make something like a bad situation into art and like something good out of it. And that happened like so many times in my life with music, but I feel like it's good fuel, you know. You have stuff to write about and it just comes out because you have so much inside, and it's a good way to let it out for sure, a very positive way. So that's what I love about songwriting, is that it's like my therapy. And the fact that like I'm kind of sharing this with everybody, it's personal, but it becomes more relatable, that other people could relate, and it makes you feel good because you're like, hey, I'm not alone, like everybody goes through this shit, you know. So that's kind of how I took it, but that was kind of what was going on at the time. And yeah, so I kind of was trying to balance like those shitty feelings, but then like embracing what I have, and like it was kind of a sign, like, you don't deserve that, you have better things coming, you know. That's kind of how I took it. So that was kind of what was going on.
Yeah, so, you know, breakups can be big, and it sounds like you had two big breakups. You had the band breakup and then a relationship breakup, and then
Yeah.
it's like, so there's so much emotions going through your heart, like, what am I gonna do? You know, how am I gonna get through this?
Yeah, because you're like so comfortable like with the things you have, and then when it changes and it's like, what the hell, what am I gonna do now? But I look back and I'm like, dude, as crazy as it sounds, like, because so many people, you know, they try to tell you, oh, you know, you're gonna be okay, and you'll look back and laugh, and you're kind of like, no, I'm not, I'm freaking feel like shit right now, you know. You don't want to hear that, but then, dude, it's so true. Like, you look back and you're like, I'm kind of glad that happened. It was supposed to happen. Like, you realize those things happened for a reason, because you're growing, and you're growing past all that. Like, you know, you overcome it, and that's kind of how I see it, you know.
You know, when you have a song, and I'm pretty sure, like, for every artist that writes a song, and people can relate to that song. And have you ever had any fans come up to you and be like, man, that song like really changed my life, or I was going through that too? Has anybody ever came up to you, or do you remember a moment when someone came up to you about?
Yeah, like, I think pretty much, you know, every band I've been in, especially like the one prior to all my solo stuff, I think that's like when my songwriting ability just like really took off because of what I was going through, and it was real shit, you know. And I would get messages from like a bunch of people, not just like girls, you know, like guys too, like, so that was dope to be able to kind of like not just target to like, oh, this is like, this song's just for women, or this song's like just for this particular group. Like, my songs are for everybody, you know? I mean, we all have emotions, men have emotions too, and I feel like a lot of the times, like, people see it as, oh, women are the more emotional ones and they're the ones that do this, but dude, guys feel it too. We can't forget about that. And the fact that I get messages from both it's really cool to be able to hear that my song did that, you know? And so yeah, I've had people message me and tell me, and it trips me out, like, because I'm just a regular person writing music, like, I'm nothing like special, you know? And they'll be like, oh my god, your song and this and that, I love it, and I listen to it all the time, and it got me through this and that. And just reading that, it's like, wow, like, I feel accomplished for sure. Like, that's such a good feeling. I think out of everything, that's like my favorite, to hear that, because that's what, like, the bands that I got inspired by, that's what they did for me. So to be able to like do the same is really rewarding for sure.
They say the nice ones finish last. I know too much about that. I guess it's all just a race, and how much you can take. I try to say how I'm feeling. You tell me you take it easy. Your mind changes